What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Studio Sunday YouTube channel, where we want to show you and teach you everything real estate videography related. In this video right here, I'm going to show you exactly how I color grade all of my footage for every single one of our videos. And if you're a person that's like, man, I already know how to do the LUTs, I already know how to do the color grading, I don't need to watch this video, I encourage you to stick around, because I'm always learning new things, whether it's with another shooter, another editor, or if I'm just scrolling on YouTube. I'm implementing new things all the time in the work that I do here at Studio Sunday. So stick around. If you're new here, we want to be posting videos like this every single Sunday for you guys to watch, learn, implement new things into your businesses. So go ahead, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell. I'm pretty sure you get like a ding on your phone when we post a new video, but it's going to be every Sunday. So don't click it. I don't care. I've never actually clicked one of those for anybody. So, you're not offending me if you don't click it. Just subscribe at least, right? All right, so here we are in Final Cut Pro, and on the timeline, I have a few different shots from a recent shoot we did here in South Florida. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over three different things. We're gonna go over exterior shots, interior shots, and drone shots. But before we do that, I want you guys to know something, is I am not a colorist. I am not a professional color grader. But what I will say is I found a process that is super simple and super repeatable. And that's really important for me, because I want to be editing as efficiently as possible and making sure my footage is looking as good as possible in the amount of time I'm spending on it. So as you guys are going through this video, I want you guys to keep in mind how simple and easy this is. And I also have a little secret trick in here that changed my color grading 10x. It 10x'd it, okay? It 10x'd it. And I've showed a couple other videographers this trick, and they're like, wait, you're supposed to do that? So we'll get to that, and hopefully you'll be able to implement that in your video. And if you already knew it, let me know. Let me know. All right, so starting off, we have this beautiful backyard shot, blue water, blue skies, super symmetrical. I love it, but I'll click the clip and go to my effects panel here and down to color and grab a custom LUT and drag that on. And what that's gonna do is put a custom LUT on your effects panel. So I'll click it, and I will go down and do S-Log to Rec 709. But once that is on, we have our colors converted, right? So we're taking S-Log footage and converting it, bringing back those colors, right? Then I'll drag another custom LUT on, and I'll put my look LUT on there. So right here for outdoor shots, I'll use my veranda look LUT. Just so you guys know, every single LUT we're using in this video is personally made by me, and you can purchase those in the description below. But I want you guys to keep in mind, you don't have to use my LUTs. You can use whatever LUT you want. Obviously, we're gonna have different images at the end of the day, depending on the looks that we're choosing. But what we're going over here is a simple process of how to grade it, how to make your life easier, and how to tweak subtly so that you can move efficiently through your edits. So now that I have my look LUT on, sometimes I'll drag the mix up and down just to see if it makes subtle changes that I like. So I'll turn it down just a little bit, like maybe 72%. And then the next thing I would do is add a color wheel, which you'll find here, this little triangle above your effects panel. If you click that and click this drop down, you can add a color wheels. Now, if you made it this far in the video, here is the secret tip that I was talking about earlier that just changed my life. You want to bring your color wheels tab to the very top of your effects panel. Now, why would you do that? Why would you do it? Who cares? Who cares what the order is? Well, if you don't do that and you mess with your highlights, midtones, shadows, you're going to be, if it's under here, you're going to be just editing this clip as a whole, the whole footage here, right? And I'll show you what I mean. So if I'm editing the midtones, you see how it gets kind of like fuzzy, and then the highlights, it's changing the whole footage, and that's not what I want. I want it to focus on what it's saying, the highlights, midtones, and shadows. So if you drag this color wheels up to the very top, you're actually going to be editing the S-Log footage, all the information that you shot on your camera. If you leave this down here and you mess with it, you essentially just shot an S-Log 3 for nothing, in my opinion. So you want to drag that to the top. Now, if you watch as I mess with the highlights, you're going to see it actually messes with the highlights. It's not getting fuzzy. It's just messing with the highlights. Same with the midtones. If I raise them, it's not messing with the whole entire image. It's focusing on those midtones. And then same with the shadows. But before we get into the color wheels here, you want to look over here to the left. I have a Luma video scope up, something super simple. And if you don't see this, you'll want to click View and Video Scopes, or press Command 7. So I'll press Command 7. There's my video scopes, and they'll appear on your screen probably like this if you've never used them before, and you'll be really confused. You'll be like, what do I do here? What you want to do is just click this, click the single box, and then this little tabby thing, waveform, Luma. That's what I'm looking at as I color grade all of my footage to make sure my highlights, my midtones, and my shadows are where they should be. So now that we have that Luma scopes up, what we're gonna do is go to the highlights first and just play with this up and down. And what we want is the peaks of this Luma scopes to barely be touching 100 in our highlights. So I'll kind of just, there we are, we're barely touching 100. Then I'll go next to my midtones and I'll lower and raise that. And what we want is the majority of these waveforms that are in the middle to be around 50%. That's what we want. So we'll do that. And then lastly, with our shadows, we want it barely touching 0. Otherwise, if you're crushing it, then you're losing a lot of information. So barely touching 0 is right there. So now that I have the colors that I like for the backyard, for outside in this specific shoot, because your lighting is always going to change no matter what house you're at, I'll click the clip and I'll click Command C. And then I'll go here and I'll click Command Shift V to paste it on the next clip. And we'll make sure that our wheels and both LUTs are checked here. And we don't have to worry about any of this unless you want to change any of it. And I'll click Paste. So now what we have is this same color grade on this footage. And the reason why I do that is because it's the same backyard, it's the same colors, it's the same time of day. Likely, I'm going to like what it does, right? If I just copy and paste that over. If that makes sense. But if I don't like it and I want to change something, I always have everything back here, what I put on the earlier clip. So for here, I'll just click the color wheels and maybe I'll lower the highlights just a tad more so we get more blue in the sky. I'll raise the midtones just a tad more because the pool's a little dark. And there we go. Now I just move on to the next clip. I just want to interrupt this video and tell you who our sponsor is, and that is nobody. So I'll sponsor it and tell you, make sure you subscribe. And then leave a comment if you have any questions or what you want to learn in the next one. Okay, let's get back to it. So if you guys want to speed things up even further, you can actually save your effects preset. So that way you can just drag it on and you can move through these edits like crazy. And how you do that is, let's go to this first clip and say we like this color and we want to use it maybe in the future. What we'll do is click Save Effects Preset right here and make sure all 3 of these are checked. Name it whatever you want. So I can name it Backyard. And now for category, you can actually just move it to color if you want. But for me, I like my custom presets to be at the top of my effects list so I don't have to go looking for them. And so how you do that is you just put a period in front of the name. And to create a new category, you'll go all the way down here. I don't know if you guys can see that. You'll click New Category and name it .color, .color grade, .LUTs, whatever you want, and click Create and add it to that. I'm going to cancel this. But what that looks like is here, my .color will have different presets that I've already done. And to show you guys what that looks like, we'll click this last exterior shot here, and I'll just click and drag my veranda LUT preset on there. And if you could see here, it's the same order, the same thing that we just did in these previous ones. And now all I have to do is go into the color wheels and make the tweaks that I need. So barely touching 100 on the highlights, raising the midtones to be around 50, and the shadows barely touching 0. And there we go. Now we have all of our exterior clips color graded, again, keeping it super simple and super repeatable. Now moving on to the inside, what we'll do is do the same thing, but now we're working with different shadows, different highlights, all those kind of things because we're inside the home. So lighting is going to be a little bit more tricky in terms of your color temperature and all that sort of stuff, but I'll show you what I do here. So we begin here, making sure we have the same order here of color wheels, the look LUT, and the conversion LUT. And then we'd select the look LUT. And for me, I'm going to go to my LUTs, and the still space look is for my interior shots. And I'll click that. And right away, it automatically looks pretty good. There's a couple tweaks we can make and make sure that our waveform here is where it should be. So I'll kind of turn the highlights down just a bit. And there we go. Things are looking great so far. If the shot was a little bit yellow or a little bit blue, what I would do actually is in this same color wheels, again, keeping things simple, is I would fight fire with ice or vice versa. So say it's looking a little bit yellow, like too warm here, I would go to the midtones and I would just pump a little bit of blue into it. You see what that's doing to the image? It's making it a little bit cooler. Personally, I don't like messing with the color temperature or even the white balance unless it's absolutely necessary, but I do like to stay in the color wheels and only focus on the midtones, or sometimes just the highlights, or sometimes just the shadows, depending on the image. Just like we did in the exterior shots, I would copy this and go to the next one. So this is a wide shot of a bedroom, same warm tone, same time of day, and I'll paste that on there. And so what we have here is the colors from this image onto this one. And maybe if anything, I'll go back to here, and maybe I'll revert these back to how they were and tweak them how I like them. So looking at the waveforms, lowering it down, barely touching 100. In the midtones, making sure that it's pretty natural to the eye. This to me looks a little bright. This to me is a little dark. I'll keep it maybe around there, and the shadows I'll turn down a little bit because this is how it looked naturally. Now we have this hot spot here, so the highlights can come down so we can get that lamp shape back. These look great so far, and we'll move on to the drone shots. Now, if you're shooting with a DJI drone, I would hope you're shooting in some sort of color profile like DLog or DLog M. We're shooting with the Mavic 4 Pro, so everything that we shoot is in DLog. And what that is, the difference between those two, if you're shooting with a Mavic 3 or something older, is DLog is going to have more flexibility in your color adjustments, your highlights, midtones, all that stuff. There's more information there. And DLog M is going to be a little bit more contrasted, and it's going to have less information for you to play with. So the great thing about the Mavic 4 Pro, in my opinion, is the fact that you could shoot DLog, whether it's a 1x or a 2x shot, and it always looks great. So we have our 1x shot of the outside of this house. And again, we're keeping the same order here on our effects panel, and we'll make sure we have our conversion LUT here. So we have DLog or DLog M. You can get these from DJI's website, and I'll go ahead and click DLog. And as far as the look LUT goes, of course, I'm going to use my personal LUT, which is the Lookout, and there's one version for DLog M, one for DLog, and I'll click that. It's going to bring some of those greens back, some of the blues back, which we'll tweak here in a second, and then I'll open the color wheels. In the color wheels, we're going to do the same exact thing and watch those waveforms and make sure it's barely touching 100. Right there's good. The midtones will bring down just a tad, the shadows down a tad. And honestly, right there looks very good to me. That about wraps it up. That is exactly how I color grade all of my footage, no matter what it is. I just like to keep things simple and repeatable. If you guys like the LUTs we used, they're in the description down below. But hey, you can use whatever LUTs you want, no matter what they are. I'm doing that same exact process. I just like mine because they make things a little bit easier. If you guys have any questions on anything that I did here, go ahead and leave a comment below, and I'd be happy to get back to you, or send me a DM on Instagram because I'm always replying to those. And if you guys like this video and you learned a thing or two, again, click the subscribe button, and we'll see you next Sunday.